Hi, welcome to the show. This is Yvonne Jones of C2C World TV, the host of the show of Edible Home Gardens Resorts and Be the Bank Investments and Investors. Our host and our guest today is Karen Crowder, and she's with the Miliare Group and Insurance, and she's got some great information to share with us on how to be the bank and some of the pitfalls and things to look out for in our investment portfolio. Welcome to the show, Karen. Thank you. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. Thanks for having me.
And I would like to start the show first with a little bit of a teaser here of how you can make $24,000 and $500 a month by being the bank. If that's an interest to you, and if you're interested in making anywhere from 7% interest rate up to 12% interest rate, your choices are between 7 and 12%, and the potential of making $24,500 a month based on one of our programs. So if that's of interest to you, stay tuned. So Karen, tell us a little bit about yourself and what your background is, how you got involved in insurance, and what brought you down the path where you're at today.
Well, Yvonne, most people don't come from the background that I'm in right now, which is, financial services. Prior to that, I had been in banking for over 20 years, but, I was like one of those blue collar kids that thought they were going to go to college, and I did, but I also got stuck with working a full-time job. I was a single mom for about 20 years of my kids. I raised them by myself, but I was working in a factory. That's how I become familiar with, the ways of the world. So I worked in a factory for like 16 years, and then I decided, it wasn't for me anymore, and moved to banking. And then basically I've worked two jobs my whole life. Most middle class Americans, they're used to trying to make ends meet, however that is, working two jobs, side jobs, whatever. And about 3 years ago, I take care of my mother, and she's 90. She had fell and hit her head and lost her memory, and so I had to quit my second job. And one of my friends is in this business, just happened to want me to do one of her training appointments, and so that's how this fell in my lap. I fell in love with helping people and helping make sure that that their goals are met, however financially, and make sure that their businesses stay afloat. So
I know what it's like to be a single mom, that's for sure. I went through that too myself, and boy, you everything it pulls out all the stats of everything about who you are, and the stress is unmanageable, actually, quite frankly. So you don't really wish it on your worst enemy, right?
yeah.
Somehow God got us through it, I believe, and here we are today. And I'm glad that we're meeting each other. One of the interesting stories that, and what brought me to you and was intriguing was I'm all about educating people on what to do with their 401ks and how to be at the bank. And I've been focusing on that since, well, way back in 2006 and 7 when we had the first mortgage crash in
Yeah.
2007, which started in February of 2007. I remember it well. So, so anyway, what intrigued me about your story was is that when I was talking about the 401ks, you had expressed to me what happened with you and your story about what happened to your 401k. And I go, oh, we got to talk about this. We got to have girl talk, man, because this is really what it's all about. How can we help prevent people from going through what you went through and your experiences on a 401k before you knew about what you could do with a 401k? So I'm going to let you have the floor and discuss that with us.
Thank you, Yvonne. Well, unfortunately, I didn't have a good experience. Like I said, I started out going to college because, that's most everybody's dream, and ended up in a factory because I was a single mom. But, most the corporate world, most businesses, they don't teach you financial education. Normally you get a 9 to 5 job, they give you some kind of retirement, and most of the time it is a 401k or a 403b or whatever. But they let you sign up for it, they talk you into putting the most in there. Yeah, some companies will match it, and but normally all those companies have stipulations. Being young and dumb, I wasn't taught anything about it. I wasn't taught about the fees that are inside that, the 17 fees. I wasn't taught about the taxes, I just was free money. That's all I heard. Oh, you put so much in there and we're gonna match it. That's all good. It's good to be diverse with your stuff, but what they didn't tell me is if I was to leave, to do something with it. Well, I had been gone for over 20 years.
Mm.
And when I fell into this financial services and was being educated and being taught the right way, I got to thinking, well, golly, I had a 401k at my first job. Um, then I, backtrace, go to the company and talk to HR and try to figure out all this stuff. Well, as you know, the stock market dropped 2008, and then it dropped in what 2022. Um, so when I go back to get my 401k, because I'm thinking, I need this, because my grandmother was sick and stuff, and I needed that extra cash. Well, guess what, Yvonne? It wasn't there.
Oh, God.
Nobody told me that, you need to be doing something with your money. Take it out, protect it, roll it over into something. And I had never been so crushed because that was 16 years of my life
Oh,
working
my
hard,
God.
putting money into it. And
16.
so I was just like, I'm going to make sure nobody else ever goes through that. So my mission is to educate people, educate them what to do with their hardworking money, and make
Mhm.
sure that it's not just sitting out there floating around and the government eating it up.
That's right.
So that's what happened to my first one.
Wow. Now you're still, you went to Intuit again, I take it from that comment. So tell me how you managed that one. How did it work out?
Well, when I was in the banking, like I said, most 9 to 5 corporate jobs, they're going to
Mhm.
offer you the 401k. I still hadn't been taught about it yet. So yeah, I was doing a 401k. They started out, you could access it and have two small loans at the same time. But then, as the world revolves, things started changing. If you had a loan, you couldn't touch it. You had to still put money in it, and the bank would only put 3%. I didn't have no clue. Here I am putting 10% of my money in there, struggling, you know. And then I thought, gosh, do I have to put money in this thing? Well, I just stopped putting money in it. I thought, what are they going to do to me? Well, about a month ago, I had quit because my passion is what I'm doing now is running my business for finances. But I go to get my 401k, and if you're not 59 and a half, you're going to get penalized. And most people don't know that.
Mhm.
And so I needed enough money to be able to survive for a few months or whatever. And then I went ahead and rolled half of it on over into a bucket that would give me growth and protection. But I got penalized 35% because I'm not 59 and a half. So that's a big chunk of money going to the government. And then when
Mhm.
it's time to file my taxes, I'm going to get hit again with another 10% because that's claimed as income.
Mhm.
So they got a big chunk of that too.
So when you look back at it and you did that, you found out being in the insurance world that there's some maneuvers that you could make to prevent some of that. Isn't that correct? And there's ways that you have learned since then of how, and and your goal is to teach other people how to do that, right?
That's correct. Just depending on the client, the person, what their end goals are, is how we can sit down and maneuver it. Yeah, we always try to teach them to get it working hard for you, do the best for it. Depending on how they want to access it, how fast they want to access it. We have so many things that we can offer because we work with over 190 top rated companies. So we have a lot that we can sit down and shop out for whoever and whatever their
Mhm.
goals are. So that's what I love about who I work with and what I do is because no matter what, we're going to be able to help you one way or the other.
And it's called collaboration.
Mhm.
Exactly. I mean, that's what we're doing right here today, collaborating. I have
Right.
a program with Edible Home Gardens Resorts that we're trying to collaborate with mastermind insurance brokers because they have tools in their toolbox. And then when they maneuver it and give them a tool that they can leverage immediately, they can now be the bank. And that's our programs on Be the Bank, Investments and Investors, and how
Right.
you can make more money. And that 35% that you mentioned, well, let's just say that teaser that I was telling you about in the first part of the show, well, you can make 35% residual income on our properties, and 35% could make that back up for you right away. And then you go on making more 35% every year after that. So depending on what program you would pick with Edible Home Gardens Resorts and our Be the Bank programs, you could pick the 35% residual. That gives you also a fixed 6% or 7%, whichever you choose, because we offer 10% profit share, residual income, a fixed, and free organic food. So if you took the free organic food and took that 1% and moved it to the 6, you would have 7% fixed annually, paid out monthly. So these are the kind of things that you could do if you combine insurance program with the Be the Bank program. Now you're making money more ways than one. And I really love it. And that's why I'm all about a mastermind group and collaborating with insurance brokers and people who are experienced, like Karen here, who's got experience and knows the pitfalls and wants to prevent you from having those pitfalls. So that's
Right.
what this is all about. Is there anything else that you want to mention about your particular and how people can connect with you? Give us, announce your information, which we'll also have in the description of the and under the notes here for people who can join and connect with you. But go ahead and say it here so people can know how to connect with you.
Yeah, you can call me anytime. My phone number is 423-504-0881. If you need to email me, you can email me at karencrowder.wfg@gmail.com.
All right. And I'm going to make you say that all again. One more time.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Okay, you can call me anytime. I work around the clock, so it's 423-504-0881. And then my email is karencrowder.wfg@gmail.com.
Okay, and we just make sure that we understand what those initials were. So Crowder is Crowder, so it's Karen Crowder, and then that's at W.
No, dot
Oh, dot.
WFG,
Okay,
like World
dot,
Financial Group.
and it's WF, and that's a G.
Mhm.
Okay, G. Okay, so as in good, WFG, and then that's .com, right?
That's correct, ma'am.
All right, good. Just make sure, because sometimes it doesn't come across so well. So that's awesome. And then she's also got a connection. We're gonna be asking her, she's gonna be inviting a CPA on our show. And we're gonna invite Karen back for that. And I think it's gonna be interesting. I'm hoping that we can get her associate on, who is a registered licensed CPA. And we'll get down to the nitty gritty of some of these things that we're talking about. There's a information piece that I want to touch on. And of course, I want it actually solidified by a CPA. And that is, do you have to pay taxes when you're being the bank? So wouldn't that be great if you didn't have to pay taxes by being a Be the Bank person, and the CPA can give us the right answers to that? So I want everybody here to watch our next show, or the show that we have the CPA on. And we're also going to have another gentleman on who's he's an author and all about IRAs. So we're going to combine Karen and some of our other going forward shows. I'm really excited about what we're doing here. And again, this show is sponsored by Edible Home Gardens Resorts and Be the Bank Investments. And we welcome everyone and anyone to be a part of. Eventually, we're going to have call-ins and questions and answers, but this is just the start of the show, and we're really excited to have you all here. And Karen, did you have any final messages or notes that you want to say before we go?
Yvonne, thank you so much for letting me on here. It's a privilege.
Likewise, I'm so glad. I'm glad we met. I mean, you really sparked an interest in me with your story. And the more that we can educate other people, we prevent them from going through all the same drama, especially with you being a single parent and I was a single parent. This is the kind of stuff you don't need added to it, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, we want to help each other. And the more we help each other connect, and that's what C2C World TV is really all about. It's click to connect. C2C World TV. It's by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. We want to help each other connect and succeed. So thank you, Karen. and God
Thank
bless you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.